Howdy hi, this is John Stad. Welcome back to my video series on planning for and hiking the King's Trail in northern Sweden. The King's Trail is known as Kungsleden in Swedish. The previous videos in this series covered general information and beautiful pictures to get you hooked on this trail. This is a trail you want to hike. Some people get hungry when hiking for a month, so a couple of the videos show you how to find food in the Swedish mountains when you are far from civilization. It's not easy, but it's not as hard as you may fear. Whatever you do, don't plan to carry all the food you'll need for a whole hike. Here's a link to the playlist that holds all of those videos and some more. Don't plan on carrying a lot of water either. There's water everywhere, and there's even a video covering how to safely cross all of that water in the playlist. It's worth a glance so you get the basic ideas. In this video, I'm going to cover a hodgepodge of remaining details that are critical to understand, but each in themselves doesn't warrant a video of their own. The video notes have links to the different chapters in this video, so you can jump around or come back to review anything. Definitely add your suggestions and questions below. The hiking season for Kungsleden is quickly approaching, so I'll get back to you right away. The first thing I'm going to cover is clothes. Someday I may do a full video on the gear and clothes you need for Kungsleden, but if you want additional guidance before your hike next summer, consider grabbing a Kindle version of my book. The text discusses how you decide what clothes you need, and there are appendices in the back that give you checklists so you don't miss a thing. Swedes have a saying that roughly translates to, "There is no bad weather, there are only bad clothes." You need to bring the clothes appropriate for the terrain and the climate. Basically, when the trails are not smooth and flat, they can be rocky, muddy, and maybe even covered with water. Some sturdy waterproof boots are appropriate. I would also never consider hiking Kungsleden without trekking poles, but hike your own hike. Maybe you don't need them. It rains on about half of the days that you'll be on Kungsleden. Bring your waterproof shell or a raincoat, and very importantly, rain pants. Check out my Monday Mistakes video on why I insist that you bring rain pants. The temperature can range from 25 Fahrenheit, maybe 5 below Celsius, to 75 Fahrenheit or 25 Celsius on the same day. You'll probably notice too that the wind blows all day, every day. So bring the appropriate layers to keep you warm and dry in all of those conditions. Some people hike from cabin to cabin and don't bring a tent. This lightens their load quite a bit. They assume they'll make it safely to the next cabin every day. I think you need to bring some kind of shelter, even if you don't plan to use it. Plans can change and you don't always control when or why they change. Don't bring a hammock. Take a look at these pictures and guess why. Between Ammarnäs and Kvikkjokk, there are no STF or Swedish Tourist Association cabins. So unless you can hike more than 100 miles or 160 kilometers in one day, then you're going to need to make some alternative plans for a place to sleep. A tent makes this chore real easy, and there are some private hostels along that stretch too. Don't assume you can go cabin to cabin when there aren't any cabins though. Leave your flashlight and headlamps at home. Even at the end of the hiking season in September, it doesn't get dark enough that you would ever need extra light, even in your tent. Instead, you may want to bring a sleep mask to cover your eyes because the sun will be up when you go to bed and it will be up when you wake up. It may or may not set while you're sleeping, but it never gets so far below the horizon that it gets dark. Talking about things to leave at home brings us to water treatment. I always treat my drinking water, regardless of what locals may advise. The water on Kungsleden is supposed to be pure enough to just drink with a cup when you get thirsty. I saw lots of people do that with no ill effects. I also met a French-speaking couple here at this bridge who were begging others for Imodium because he had gotten a bad case of diarrhea. It's your choice, but I would recommend you bring lightweight purification tablets and leave your filter at home. Bring a roll of toilet paper, some baby wipes, and a trowel in case you need to use them when an outhouse is not in sight. I don't want to get too intimate or personal, but I found the bathroom facility spaced just about right along all of Kungsleden. Not perfectly spaced, but frequent enough that I was never forced to dig a cat hole. Came close one time. You may not be that lucky, so come prepared. Airlines are responsible for the contents of any bag you check, but not the outer bag itself. Damage to the outer bag is considered normal wear and tear. Therefore, your backpack needs to be inside some kind of a duffel bag, some kind of a covering to protect it. A lot of people buy a throwaway bag at IKEA for about $5, $6, $7 US. It seems like a shame to just throw it away when you arrive, and it leaves you with a problem at the end of your hike too. What do you put your backpack in for the trip home? I might have an option for you, so hang on. I picked up a couple Osprey Airporter duffel bags several years ago. My initial impression was that they were too fragile to withstand the anticipated abuse, but I was wrong. We've been to several different continents more than once. They survived our backpacking trip to Alaska. The Osprey Airporter is not cheap. You will not want to throw it away, and you won't want to carry it on a long hike either. Hang on, I've got an idea coming. Some people have good luck going to a secondhand sporting goods store. You can often find a used equipment bag more than tough enough for what you need. You won't need to feel guilty about throwing it away, or maybe gifting it to someone staying at the same hostel who needs it for their trip home. You may already know this, but there are actually a lot of IKEA stores in Sweden. Unfortunately, none of them are near Kungsleden. You can throw away or give away your IKEA bag at the beginning of your hike and maybe buy a replacement in your gateway city for your trip home. There's IKEA in Stockholm, for example. Check out my video on sending yourself resupply boxes because you could put your IKEA bag, your Osprey Airporter, duffel bag, or equipment bag in a box and ship it to yourself at your final trailhead. I've done this lots of times on my hikes. It works out really good. The only risk is that you might need to abandon that package if you end your hike early due to injury or for some other reason. You cannot bring any kind of fuel on an airplane. Period. No exceptions. Don't even try. You can't put it in your carry-on bag and you can't put it in your checked bags, but calm down. There are plenty of stores where you can buy fuel on your way to Kungsleden and on Kungsleden. Your stove also must be clean and free of any fumes. You can check it or carry it on, it doesn't matter, but don't get caught with a stinky stove. Your batteries must be in your carry-on bag. They require this because sometimes batteries catch on fire. They want any fires to be in the airplane cabin where the crew has a reasonable chance of putting them out. An alternative might be a movie based on a true story called Fire at 40,000 Feet. Have you ever wondered who might play you in a movie? I'm thinking Bill Murray would play me. What do you think? There's sometimes limits on how much battery power you can bring on board, so check directly with all of the airlines you'll be flying on. They have different rules and they don't care what airline you flew on to reach them. Sharp things like tent stakes, trekking poles, and knives need to be in your checked bag. Imagine, if you will, a movie called Hijacked at 40,000 feet. That's what the airport security people are doing. You need to pack sharp things carefully too, so they do not get bent or poke through the side of your backpack. All roads to Kungsleden run through Stockholm. It doesn't matter if you're flying or taking a train. You have to go through Stockholm to get anywhere in Sweden's Lapland. You ask, hey, what about Narvik? That's in Norway and basically walking distance to Kungsleden's northern terminus at Abisko. Narvik's the same. People in Norway who want to go to Abisko via Narvik must first go through Stockholm. This isn't a problem. Stockholm has a great international connections and it's easy to get into and around. It's filled with history and culture. I'd recommend going through Stockholm even if it wasn't your only reasonable option. I say reasonable because there might be limited flights from outside Sweden to Kiruna, which is located more than an hour from Abisko. Kiruna is an interesting city to visit. Right now, Kiruna is having a moving experience, and they're eager to tell you all the details. So as you explore your options, maybe Kiruna works for you as a gateway city. It's possible. You still have to get to Kungsleden from Kiruna, though. You don't know how many days your hike will take. You can estimate and you can guess. It'll take somewhere between 2 weeks and a month. Give yourself several extra days of buffer so that you don't need to hurry. Injuries in the Swedish mountains can be far more serious than the same injuries in civilization. Be careful when hiking, unless you want to wait in pain for a couple days for a helicopter ride. Hopefully you'll finish early. Before you leave, look at a map and research things you might want to do if you have extra time. Look especially at these cities. But don't limit yourself to major tourist attractions. Scandinavia has a lot to offer in both urban and rural environments. Small towns can be very interesting, and you'll find that people will welcome you. Allemansrätten in Sweden and similar laws in other countries give a person the right to access, walk, cycle, ride, ski, and camp on any land, with the exception of private gardens and yards, the immediate vicinity of homes and land under cultivation or being farmed. There are other reasonable restrictions possible in national parks and other areas that need to protect wildlife. The maxim which most easily explains Allemansrätten is do not disturb, do not destroy. Many Swedish people consider this to be a human right. In addition to legal protections, Allemansrätten provides guidance on how to roam in nature. It's a lot like leave no trace principles. You won't be surprised. Allemansrätten lets you set up a tent for 1 or maybe 2 nights, light small fires if it's safe and allowed where you are, go fishing with the proper license, ride your bike, ski, launch unmotorized boats on private lakes, ponds, and rivers, pick berries, flowers, and mushrooms that are not otherwise prohibited by what or where they are. Check first with the locals. I ate wild blueberries and lingonberries everywhere. I even got to eat cloudberries with some French-speaking campers I took a break with. Check out this video that explains Allemansrätten in English. You can tell they had a lot of fun making it. So please hike and subscribe. I hope you're eager to get started on the plans for your own hike of Kungsleden, so share this video with one of your adventurous friends. Hit that bell too so you know when the rest of the videos start dropping. Next week, we'll begin the first section of an actual Kungsleden hike from Hemavan in the south to Järvik. It takes about a week in real time, but we're going to do it a lot faster. I got to eat pizza and ice cream in Järvik. I got to eat palt too, spelled P-A-L-T. Try that if you get to Järvik. See you later, bye.